All right, greetings everybody, and welcome to week number 8. That is right, week number 8 of your 7314 class, which is your reference class. As always, I'm your professor, Dr. Jace K. Austin, and what we are going to do today is first a state of the course update, and then what we're going to do is we're going to look at two databases that are useful when you are doing persuasive speeches or persuasive arguments or persuasive papers, I should say. That's what I meant to say. Persuasive speeches or persuasive arguments. If you are, this is useful for all three of our quote-unquote main types of libraries: public, academic, or school, K-12. And the reason being is because these are databases that are mostly used by people in middle or high school that are trying to write persuasive papers or make persuasive speeches, or people who are like first or second year of college, like underclassmen in college. Okay. So this has relevance. It has like a relevance to all three, because also K-12 students don't always go to the school library and don't always even have a school library. So they come to the public libraries sometimes for help with persuasive arguments or persuasive speeches. And so, yes, the public librarians need to know this as well. So again, because one misunderstanding that I feel I had based on, I take my evaluations very seriously, and one of the misunderstandings that I had based on my evaluations last semester, I did have somebody claim that my class only did academic library databases, only went over those, and they said that my class was totally irrelevant because they were going into public librarianship. And I don't, based on how things were worded in that critique, I don't think this person realized that there are some databases that will be available in all types of libraries. But then also, just because this goes back to the database unassignment as well, just because I assign some databases that are available through Mizzou, that doesn't mean that they're specifically academic library databases. So, like for instance, one of you, I believe, did have PsycInfo. PsycInfo is something that a lot of public librarians use because a lot of people will come in to the library and need things related to mental health. Mental health is not something that's strictly academia. A lot of people in the public, they come and they need to know information about disorders and things of that nature. And the business databases also fall in line with that. You might think that, Mergent or some of these other business databases are a lot. Mergent is the only one that's coming to my mind right now, or Business Source Complete or something like that. You might think that they are databases that are specifically for academic librarians, academic business librarians, but no, public business librarians use those too. And so that's a misunderstanding that I'm trying to avoid here, for the sake of my evaluations, of course. But anyway, and by the way, you can speed this video up. It may probably be about 25 minutes. Hopefully it won't be that long, but it may be 25 minutes. So yeah, speed it up, speed me up all the time. Also, I do want to, hopefully I won't be all over the place today, but I am a little frazzled. I had a tire blow on me in rush hour in Raleigh. I'm back home in North Carolina, and I was on the interstate in Raleigh in rush hour this evening, and a tire blew, and I was in the next to the left lane and had to pull those 3 tires in rush hour all the way to the curb, and didn't think I was going to make it, but thankfully I did. So, but anytime I have car problems, that just frazzles me. I don't know, anxiety, something like that. So anyway, let's get into that state of the course update first. All right, so our big thing that we need to be aware of right now is, of course, you've got the Wikipedia edit assignment that is going to be due this coming weekend, this coming Sunday night, so March the 10th. And by the way, I will again say that if you can do the Wikipedia edit assignment. It doesn't have to be on something serious. It doesn't have to be on one of these particular articles here. It can be the article of your choice. If you, for the most part, if you are worried about whether or not it's something that's going to be okay, then you can just reach out to me via email, or canvas message and let me know what topic you are proposing, and I will either give you the thumbs up or the thumbs down. But for the most part, people get that thumbs up. And yeah, the Wikipedia assignment, again, from the past, it doesn't take, students are giving me feedback that it doesn't really take them that long to complete. So, you do have I wanted to make sure that you had your, virtual reference assignments, back throughout the week so that, you could, whether or not you've already started on your Wikipedia edit assignment, having that feedback from the virtual reference assignment, especially when it came to APA, I wanted you to have the week to kind of look over that and incorporate whatever changes you needed into your papers. So I got those done over the weekend. And so everybody's gotten theirs back. And I do also want to bring up that you all did you did a better job than any of my classes did in the past as far as getting your APA correct. I do want to say though, and this bears mention, if you are told to use a citation style, then that means to cite sources, and you do need to be citing sources in your papers anyway when you're in grad school, because this is you take a more scholarly approach in graduate school, and so you are building upon the foundations, upon the knowledge, wisdom, theory, all of that stuff of literature that's already out there, of data that's already out there, so forth and so on. You grad school, you should be boosting your arguments with the arguments, theory, data, etc. of others. Okay, so if you did not cite sources in that first assignment and you got dinged for that as far as points, then go ahead and correct that and cite sources with this Wikipedia edit assignment. I do not give a minimum amount of sources because, again, this is grad school. So instead of, like, undergrads need to be told at least 5 sources, at least 10 sources. When you are in grad school, you should be to the point where you're saying to yourself, I'm going to cite enough sources to make this right and get the job done. That doesn't necessarily mean you need 20 sources. A lot of times for a shorter paper, yes, 3 good sources gets the job done. So it's all about what you are trying to accomplish with your paper, but by all means, please cite sources, and also cite sources that prove that you've engaged with a reading somehow, and also cite sources. You can do literature searches on your own in the databases or Google Scholar or whatever to find other sources, but please make sure that you're incorporating sources also that actually do sort of back up what you're trying to claim or what you're trying to say, as opposed to like just citing maybe like dictionaries and encyclopedias like that as a way to cite sources. Please do that as well. There's nothing wrong with that, but I want to see evidence also that you all have experienced some growth through the class materials, and I don't have that if your only citation, for instance, is citing a dictionary definition, or if it's citing a citing the Purdue OWL, or something of that nature, like if you needed assistance with citation and so you cited the Purdue OWL. That doesn't really tell me that. And by the way, and you don't need to cite the Purdue OWL if you used it, by the way, either. That's not something that people normally do, but I have seen that in this course this semester. Again, nothing wrong with that. That's not a critique to the person who did it. I'm just saying that you do want to show me, your instructor, that you are engaging with the course content, because I give you this course content for a reason, and it's for your growth and your preparation in this field. Okay, I care about y'all, and so I'm trying to give you the information that you need to be successful. And based on how you all have performed so far, I think you all are for the most part going to be successful. So by all means, I don't want this to take a negative connotation. Okay, but that's the big thing. You got your Wikipedia edit assignments coming up. And then from there, you actually have a little while. Keep working on those semester-long projects. Keep working on those. I know they're, I know they're not due until May the 6th, but, if you work on them a little bit week by week by week, then you're not going to end up falling behind, basically. You're not going to end up trying to answer all 40 questions within 2 weeks or something like that, because you don't want that. That's what I had my first semester. I did the assignment wrong. Basically, my first semester, the previous instructor started the semester-long project thing if you want the whole entire story. And so the previous instructor only gave 2 weeks and didn't care. But when I made this course mine in 2018, I was like, you know what, I'm going to give them more than 2 weeks to do this, because the first semester they did only have the 2 weeks, and boy, were they stressed out those 2 weeks trying to answer those 40 questions. I'm not doing that to y'all. That's why I made it a semester-long project instead of a 2-week sort of project. Okay, so I hope all of that makes sense. So be working on that. And then your LibGuide. I know it might feel stressful trying to get that Wikipedia edit assignment in by March 10th, but then your LibGuide isn't due until April 14th. And I did that on purpose to give you an entire month to work on that LibGuide. And the next time, which should be next week, the next check-in video after the LibGuide assignment is turned in, that's going to be the check-in video on the LibGuides, and I'll start creating your LibGuide logins next week as well, okay? So you all are going to be successful there. I know you are. All right, let's go ahead and talk about those two databases used for persuasion. That's Paul. All right, so again, the two databases that we're going to focus on today to kind of get you introduced to persuasive writing, persuasive arguments, and persuasive speeches, and getting data for those, or getting research and information for those, are going to be opposing viewpoints and context, and CQ researchers. So we're actually going to start out with opposing viewpoints, because that's going to be the one that that's probably going to be the one that, especially for your middle and high school crowds, is going to be the easier one to use and the one that's going to be the most useful. And we actually do not have that one available at Mizzou, so I'm actually going into the public library in order to access this one. Now, there are a lot of academic libraries that have opposing viewpoints, but our academic library is not one of them. So we will do opposing viewpoints. I am accessing this through from Mid-Continent Public Library. And so when I go in here, I'll be brought to this interface. This is opposing viewpoints and context. Now you can do a search here, just a basic search. But what I wanted to do is show you the browse feature first, because I actually, for this database, I prefer browsing over searching when I know that they've got one of those types of, when I know that they have one of those common issues that get assigned to students for writing argumentative papers. So that can be things like, of course, abortion, death penalty, marijuana legalization, so forth and so on. So what you can do, again, this is the home page or the landing page for opposing viewpoints. It's one of the Gale databases, and I can go to browse issues, right? And what this will do is it will, I'm not going to bother with the topics now. That feature wasn't always there, but it's there now, because what's happened is they've added so many issues at this point that now they've divided them up into topics, but I don't really mess with that. I'm old school, and I've been with this database for a long time, so I just go ahead and find my issue as opposed to trying to narrow it down by topic, because you can still find what you need. It's in alphabetical order, so you can still find what you need in there, right? But so I'm going to go in here, and let's say that the issue that I wanted to, we'll avoid abortion and the death penalty, because people kind of get tired of that anyway. Fast food might be an interesting one, and one that's not offensive or anything like that. So you can go in, and once you select an issue, actually it doesn't look like there's enough there, so I will do the marijuana probably. Let's find marijuana. So marijuana. All right, so first is when you first select an issue, you are actually going to be brought to kind of an overview. And you can read that overview, and a lot of times even the overview has a lot of useful information, including what you see here, pros and cons and things like that. But you get kind of a comprehensive essay is what I would call this. So an essay that's got a lot of information in it, like a lot of overview information, basically introducing you to the topic, giving you the basics and that sort of thing, okay? And usually the Lexile for one of the overviews is not too it's not too difficult to digest. It's not going to be one of those upper Lexiles that's for you know, advanced students and that sort of thing. A lot of times your Lexile is going to be sort of on the lower end, and these are usually things that can be digested from the middle school reading level on, okay? And you've got your date here, so this one's fairly recent and that sort of thing. You've got to link the words and that sort of thing. So you get your overview first, but where this database really comes in handy is when you go back out here, you get a breakdown into various content types, right? So you'll get viewpoint essays, images, newspaper articles and news articles. You will get magazines, academic journal articles, videos, and statistics and other things, reference items as well. And so when you have students who just need to really find that information kind of quickly, this is a godsend for them, because what they can do is they can go in here and they can they can select by type first of all. So let's say they want to boost their paper or their speech with, I don't know, let's say that they did want to first get reference materials so that they could define what they're doing. You can start with the reference, and a lot of times you're going to sort by relevance, but this will tell you like encyclopedias. This is an encyclopedia article based on National Organization for the Reform of Marijuana Laws, about 500 words, not too long there. You've got a, this is probably also something of an encyclopedia. It says Gale Opposing Viewpoints Online Collection, but this is probably something of an encyclopedia entry as well, or probably something similar. But you can see your source type here. Drugs and Narcotics, American Law Yearbooks. You'll see your source type there and that sort of thing. But what you can do, just when you find something that you think is going to be useful, you can just click on it. And you don't have to go outside of this database for your, full text. It's all going to be within the database. So this makes it convenient and quick for you. Okay, so you can get all of this information. You've got a sample citation, but again, sample citations are only correct about 80% of the time. So don't be fully reliant on those. But you get your overview there and that sort of thing, and you can use this, incorporate it into your paper. If you need to, you can download, print, save, that sort of thing. I did not mean to try to save, that was just an accident. But you can do all of these sorts of things, and yeah, get your full text and incorporate it in there. And this becomes really useful when you have people who are trying to find various source types. And so a lot of students may be told, yeah, you need some magazines, some academic journals, and some newspaper articles. Well, you can divide by those source types. So I could go to academic journals here, and again, this is sorted by relevance, but if you want to sort it new stuff first, you can do that as well. Get up in here, and you have this information. So let's say that you found something that you were wanting to use. Let's say that, yeah, for one thing, pretty much everything in the academic journal section is going to be peer reviewed. So if you have people who say they need specifically peer reviewed information or peer reviewed articles, then again, this is a good place to go. But you'll see word links here and that sort of thing. And I would say that sometimes, it's not always the case, but a lot of times things that are longer are more useful. Let's say that this looks pretty cool. And this is a reputable journal here. So let's say that, yeah, you wanted to use this one. It's just as simple as, instead of trying to find the full text in another database or through Journal Finder or something like that, you can just click it and you've got your full text right there. So you can build your source list up pretty quickly this way, okay? So this is what this database is useful for. And again, if I go back to the overview page, then you can also just, it's also worth noting that you can scroll down and you can see all the various things broken down by source type. You can find images and that sort of thing, and related content, because yeah, marijuana legalization, it's tied to medical marijuana, it's tied to racism in prison, it's tied to all these things, drugs and athletes. That's Richardson right there. She was Sha'Carri Richardson. She was, I believe, had a title stripped because they found some like traces of marijuana in her blood or something like that. So, you know, these are the types of things that are very useful for trying to build a source list very quickly. And again, you can see them broken down by type. And then if you say, oh, I need some more stuff of this type, then you can either go to the view all there. So this would be the view all for the news related content, or you could just click this and it would send you back to that listing there, okay? Now, I did want to just also let you know that the search feature does work, and you can do the advanced searches and everything as well. But for opposing viewpoints, if they have their actual issue kind of picked out, I don't really bother with that too much. It just seems like overkill, right? So, but you can do the search, and let's say that I was searching for, I don't know, let's say I was searching for fentanyl. Did I spell that right? Apparently not. There we go, that's better. So let's search fentanyl. And there's not really a lot of content on this, but again, there is some. Actually, you got a decent amount. You especially got a decent amount of news stuff, but yeah, you got a decent amount of academic journals and magazines as well. So you can do things that way, but I found that when you do the search as opposed to the browse, things are not quite as relevant, and you're just kind of all over the place with these. Okay. But yeah, unless you take the full text filter off, you're going to have the access to the full text right there, and so forth and so on. So you can use the search feature as well. It's just not my favorite thing to do, okay? And so if you want to learn more about opposing viewpoints and context, then yeah, look up some tutorials online or that sort of thing. And if you want to get some practice with it, then again, you can't access it through Mizzou, but you can contact your local public library, and there's a good chance that they do have opposing viewpoints and context. It's a very common database that I'm actually surprised that Mizzou does not have access to, but no library has access to every database. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do is talk about CQ Researcher. So give me one moment just to get in that database, but this is one that is available through Mizzou. So let's just go ahead and click it there. If it takes me a while to log into it, I'll pause. Yeah, give me a moment. All right, so let's go into CQ Researcher. This would be my second stop if I were you for this type of, if you're trying to help somebody with this type of assignment. Again, I would go first with opposing viewpoints, but CQ Researcher can be very useful as well. So if you wanted to browse CQ Researcher, let's say that, let's see, probably should have, let me pause while I find something here. Actually, no, let me just dive right on in so that you can follow the process. Again, y'all, it makes the videos longer, and I apologize for that, but the search process isn't linear, so I think that I would be doing you a disservice if I always made the search process linear to make the videos look smaller, because then you could get tricked, and you could be like, well, I'm not finding this stuff as easily as Dr. J, so that means I'm doing something wrong. No, you're not doing anything wrong. So let's do law and justice. Maybe marijuana is under that one, and maybe not. Let's see. Fentanyl crisis, that sort of thing. Okay. Let me go back out. Let me do this a different way. Hold on.